Hello, once again, dear viewers, and welcome back to another Moonflower Tarot reading. And today I'm going to be taking a look into the Akashic records of this collective to get messages about a potential higher timeline or a timeline you might be moving on to at this point. If you felt called to this reading, then this is a message for you, but only take what resonates, as this is a general reading and it's also timeless. So, whenever you're ready to know about your higher self or your soul's highest potential, or potentially a timeline you are moving into or currently manifesting, then this is going to reach you whenever your soul is ready. And I am going to be here channeling messages from where you are currently, where you're heading towards, or whatever point you are starting this reading at or checking in. And we're also going to be over here looking at your highest potential future timeline, moving on. So, again, only take what resonates. I offer this as guidance to be able to channel this energy for you to help the collective move along. And I will also be giving advice at the end, or pulling advice from spirit and the universe and your higher self as to ways you can make moves towards this timeline, any healing that might be needed or is going to happen in the future. But we are going to really just keep it open. And right now, one of the biggest things that came through before I even started all this, a lot of messages came through as I was channeling. And some of them are signifiers for you and the collective here. A lot of this has to do, at least from the current energy you're in, with overcoming self-limiting beliefs or challenges in your life that might be causing any doubt in your abilities, your gifts, your state of mind. And if you are in the presence of people who make you doubt yourself or force you to hide or enable a lot of self-limiting beliefs, then I think this is here for you to help you get through this and maybe get guidance or even just reassurance that what you're going through is real. Is real, basically. Like, there are people out there who will kind of take away your ability to trust yourself because they don't trust their own internal guidance, or they don't have that within them. If you are experiencing an increase in intuition, or you just feel like momentarily the people around you aren't really, I guess, doing it for you anymore, it could mean you're outgrowing them and you might need to leave people behind. And that could be a little bit painful for you right now. So some signs or synchronicities that this message is meant for you could be that you're going through this temporary solar plexus sacral chakra awakening phase. I am going to link any song I receive in the description below for the purposes of energy healing and getting in tune with yourself, because I definitely feel like this collective could use a lot of healing and reassurance. And we see that in art and media reflected back to us. The first song that came to mind is called Tiger Lily by the band Orion. And there's this feeling of needing relaxation, like being in the hustle and bustle of everyday life, like waking up and grinding. But part of your soul needs to blossom and bloom and just be easygoing. So one of the signs or maybe synchronicities you might be seeing moving on in the future that tells you that you're either on the right track or needing to take life less seriously is the flower tiger lily. Seeing a lot of orange flowers might be a sign or a signal to you that you need to work on your solar plexus, because that's what I was seeing a lot as I was tapping into this. Spiritually, you are aligning with a higher vibrational frequency that's coming from a place of unconditional love. And I think you're experiencing that within yourself now, which is why there's a lot of stuff transforming outside of your control, maybe people in your life falling away. I'm seeing this scene of someone sitting on a recliner like their child, and they're just trying to enjoy their time alone relaxing, but there's all these other people around them that are keeping them from enjoying their time. And it could be not literal people, but if you're looking at social media, if you're comparing yourself to other people, if you're looking at the news, that is also a type of distraction that you might be outgrowing. And there might be this sense of feeling guilty, like I should know what's going on with the rest of the people. But if you are highly intuitive and you are aligning with a higher vibrational part of yourself, but also a very like clear, cognizant, clairvoyant part of yourself, you already know what's going on with the collective. You feel it. What's on the news isn't always what's going on beneath the surface. You're feeling the emotional impact of what everyone else is seeing with their eyeballs. You're feeling with your soul and your heart. And it's like, it's exhausting. So it's not that you're keeping yourself like away from it. You are aware of what's going on. You feel it. But I think having this sense of empathy towards yourself and others means you kind of have to take a step back from looking at the rest of the world and comparing yourself to it, because you are on a different wavelength. So a lot of the self-limiting beliefs might be surrounding like you're worrying about where you're going in life. And so like even before I get into the cards, there is a little bit of mix of energy, and I'm here to reassure you that not only is this timeline possible, but there is basically, I'm going to say, a 90% chance that you've lived it. So when we look at the Akashic records or Akashic records, excuse my pronunciation a little bit today, I'm tongue-tied. It's basically like source at the center of creation has a library. And if we look at how libraries are set up, they're usually categorized by genre, fiction, nonfiction, and then further categorized by author. So you are basically having your own section, and each book of your life that you either lived or you're currently planning on living is in that library outside space and time. So there's the potential of you living a timeline that either another version of you has already lived, and you're kind of like, I guess, maxing out your capability to be able to live there, but you have yet to perceive that side of you. But it is possible you've written that book. I'm just kind of checking that book out from the library, reading the pages, because I've been given permission to go in there. And I'm just going to be honest with you. Yeah, I've actually stepped into the higher realms and the Akashic records, because that is kind of how I tapped into my own past life or past lives, or even a potential future timeline. It's just aligning yourself energetically with the lives you want to live going into the future, and knowing it's possible because a part of you has lived it before, or you want to live it. So rewriting your own story is not easy, but just know it can be done. It will be done. And in most cases, it should be done if you are outgrowing a lot of these things. So I'm hoping that this is going to be helpful for you right now, just getting into it. I do appreciate this. This Page of Wands keeps coming out for me. I love this about channeling energy and reading. This Page of Wands is very much coming out. I keep seeing this in a lot of other readings where we're just, as a collective, stepping up and saying enough is enough. We want to live our dreams. We want to embody that energy. And it's so interesting. It's like, it doesn't matter how many times I shuffle. It doesn't matter how many times I just kind of do whatever. It's always going to pop up. And I think a lot of you are in this energy. I feel like I am too, most definitely. And it kind of also reminds me, or doubles as the Fool card. Like, we want to know what it's like to live our lives without having to get up and worry constantly about how to make ends meet, where life is going, the world around us. Like, a lot of the people in this world are living in this place of instability. And I think you're feeling it now, where you're wanting to step into your passion and you're going in the right direction. There might be just some doubt because the self-limiting beliefs might not just be within you, but from the people in your environment. And what do we have here? Yeah, I just heard someone's, the higher self of someone's grandmother say, lay down your head and rest, child. I heard, okay, some of you, if this resonates for you, you're not alone, first of all. Someone's grandmother said their name is Grandmother Rose. I also heard Grandmother Willow, so some of you might have liked the movie Pocahontas, or Yeah, I'm also hearing listen to your heart. So there might have been an ancestor or a grandparent. Cause okay, so that's what that reminds me of. That's why I heard Rose. So that's like okay, so this Four of Swords card reminds me of Sleeping Beauty, and I think in the original fairy tale her name was Briar Rose. So there's definitely a lot of protection around you. Like your grandparents, your ancestors, the ones that came before you are guarding you while you're resting. And it seems like you're very exhausted. I also heard I heard the grandmother who's here with me now saying, pay attention to detail. They keep calling you child. So there's a lot of motherly energy. Um, yeah, I think you're feeling the shakeup in the world, and it's almost like there's this feeling because in times of upheaval, this often happens. People take sides, and we see that all throughout history. And I think this grandparent might have actually lived either through World War II or knew or had their parents lived through World War II and they saw that happen. And if that's triggering, I'm very sorry. And I'm sorry that happened to you and your family. But that's what we saw. It's like you either join the people who are oppressing or you become oppressed. And unfortunately, that's kind of what we're seeing. We can't avoid that. And it's not fair to you to keep worrying about which side you're on because to be fair, I think all of us at the end of the day are being oppressed, whether we choose to fight on either side. We are the whole point is we're forced to choose sides to survive. And in a sense, we are all being oppressed in that way. And it's not fair that you have to choose for survival. And right now, God is telling you you don't have to. Your ancestors are saying don't. You know which side. You choose what your heart knows is right. And there might be people around you who are making bad decisions and choices, and that's really not up for you to save them or decide that you're going to do the same thing. Go your own way and find your tribe who align with you, who see the world like you. Because I'm going to be honest, if you're watching this channel and you're here, you're probably humanitarians. You probably believe in trusting, in the goodness of humanity. I'm hearing someone saying when you're getting a lot of thoughts about hopelessness, I heard the phrase "Don't go there, hun." I'm actually feeling this nervous, jittery energy of. So I am channeling someone's mother, ancestor, or friend. I think there are like 3 spirits around me. So if that resonates with you, you do have a lot of help, like for each person who might be tuning into this right now. But this seems to be like what you're focused on is just trying to not fight your heart or the energy in you. You're just very tired and you want to live your truth. And there's a lot of compassion in you, a lot of passionate energy. I think Angel Sandalphon also has been coming up a lot and she wants to work with you. One of the other songs that came up was the song Flashlight by Jessie J. You're a sweet light, you're a flashlight. Shine your light for all to see because in the darkness, people need someone to follow. They need a way to navigate through this. And there's a lot of shadows coming up. And people will act upon their shadows and their ego wounds. And that might translate as competition and a lot of that. So it feels like you're in this energy right now and you're moving forward. Strawberries also might be significant. I'm also hearing strawberry moon, and I believe that is in June. So the summertime, or you might have a summer birthday. It might be a season of healing, or where you are either watching this from, the full moon in June might be a time of healing and release as well, I'm hearing. But the other song that came up was Get Up by Shinedown. Get up, get a move on. You can do it. I know you can be better. Trust me. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of eagerness to move on. But right now, I just want to get a look at your highest timeline or your highest potential. Yeah, I will get. I just heard. Okay, I don't know who this was, but someone was being sassy, and it might have been like one of my guides saying, "We're gonna get to it eventually in this reading." I'm like, it's not even been 50 minutes. Give me a break. Oh yeah, no. You're overcoming self-limiting beliefs. So this is the Seven of Swords. But in the Seven of Swords, if it will focus, hold on. Yeah, okay. So in the Seven of Swords, we see Little Red Riding Hood escaping the big bad wolf with all the swords. So you are that. You are that. You are Red Riding Hood. You're walking away, like having escaped the wolf, and you you are big bad. Okay, I'm not gonna say that because I don't like swearing, but okay. Someone's someone's spirit guide has that type of energy where there's a little bit of sassiness coming through. So that might be. I'm hearing your Mima. Oh, that's sweet. Um, well, thank you for joining me. Someone else's Mima. I really love having you here. I think sassy, no sassy. Okay, you do have that vibe in you, though. You do have that, and it's okay to express that side of you. By the way, I know that it's possible that you might have, okay, let me put it this way. You might have in the past rubbed people the wrong way with your true expression and your sassiness and your vibrant, fiery energy. And that might have caused you to go into your shell. What I'm getting from this vibe, I'm actually probably even channeling your higher self or even like a grandparent if they had this energy. Like, don't give a fuck. No, like they like to swear like a sailor. They're like, I don't care what anybody else think. I'm too old to deal with it. This just feels like your energy. It's like you're a very sweet soul. You're a very sweet person. And one of your spirit guides says, you're just a little guy. And yet people are coming out here being like, you're the big bad wolf because you're being sarcastic and sassy. You're not being showing or expressing a healthy amount of anger. By the way, I just want to say to all my empowered empaths out there and people pleasers, showing a healthy range of anger when reacting to someone who has done something wrong to you is okay and not mean. I'm just going to let you know this. People who don't want to be called out for being bad will automatically make you the villain in their story if you dare to say, hey, can you just not do that anymore in the calmest way possible. I'm just going to let you know you are not mean. I've had people tell me I was mean when I'm like, hey, can you just not do that right now? Because they were being intentionally antagonistic, overstepping boundaries to the point where they knew they were causing harm. And I'm like, can you just knock it off? And then they'd be like, you're so mean. It's like, yeah, I'm mean because I'm not letting you punch me in the fucking face. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, okay, this is. I love doing my job because I just tapped into the energy of your higher self. This is you. Oh my goodness. I love doing this type of reading. This is you. And this is literally the nine of wands and the seven of swords in reverse. You're like, I'm not going to give. Okay, I need to take a step back. You're going to tap into that empowered empath energy of being both hot-blooded but very pure. And it's just that fiery energy. It's not mean and it's not ego. It's like, you're going to push me too many times. I'm walking away. And if you try to pursue me, who's got all the freaking swords here, buddy? You're just a big bad wolf, but I am this wolf tamer. Like don't think for a second you can play mastermind and control my destiny. This is the vibe of your life. So there might be a part of you that you're hiding away that's lying dormant and sleeping because you're afraid to address it. And let me just tell you, that's okay. There are a lot of people out there who don't want to have their bad actions called out for. They're intimidated by that type of energy. Don't let their reactions control how you conduct yourselves in any given environment, because it is kind of weird that how society trains us to be tamed. But tamed also means compliant, complacent, and agreeable to things that no person on this planet should agree to. And we're not wild animals. Like, we can't live in that mindset anymore of having to appease the needs of others. And I'm just saying that I'm tapping into this energy very clearly. And if this is coming out of my voice, I can feel it. You have this like very much infinite potential, and it might feel like it's untamed energy, but in a way it's free. You're free. you can express your needs and wants no matter who's in your environment. You could go into, like, let's just say, for example, on your highest timeline, if you had a friend group that you knew from a few years ago, and suddenly you've evolved, you've done the inner work, you don't give an F what anybody else thinks, you're still your empathic self, you love people, but you got rid of the people pleasing aspects of you and you learned boundaries. And you go back to an old group of people who knew you when you would just roll over and just take it because you needed a place to belong to, and you needed a group of people to accept you, but not as you are, but as they wanted you. All of a sudden you're approaching them and you're not the same person. They're not going to appreciate this energy. But here's the other thing: you're not going to give an F that they don't appreciate it. You're not going back to prove to them, like, look at me and how much I've grown. And you might actually make them jealous because they want you to be that same person, but you can't. And now they're stuck in this timeline, in this energy where they need others to make them feel in control, to validate them, to appease them, and keep them calm and keep them feeling safe. And it's like, you've done the work to feel safe in yourself. You don't need their approval. You don't need anybody else's approval. You are this big bad witch in the middle of the woods, taking all the swords for yourself and not really caring about what anybody else thinks, because you're not betraying yourself. You're walking away from the people who would just willingly freaking throw you aside the moment you didn't decide to wear your mask or people please anymore. And that's okay. That's beautiful, because there's a lot of gifts coming to you. In fact, like, yeah, it's a slow process, but you're going to take life less seriously, and you're going to live your life free from the constraints of everything outside of you. I'm actually hearing part of the Lord's Prayer. I heard, deliver us from evil. So there is this feeling of almost an inner revival and deliverance from the shadows and like change of the people who were beside you, who were stuck in their own, like, prisons of their own making. Like, when I was walking away from a very bad situation, kind of like this, and wanting to tap into my own potential, but I needed to heal my wounds first. One of the biggest kind of metaphors, or like, yeah, I was given an image that is very much metaphorical. A person I was walking away from was depicted as someone who was basically driving around in a golden bird cage, not able to give me any seeds. Like, I wanted to get seeds from their purse to feed the birds because I wanted to enjoy life. Their purse had no seeds in it, but not only that, I got an image of them driving away in a very gold, bright bird cage, and they were laughing. Like, look at me. I am so free. You can't get any seeds to help other people. I need that for myself. And it's like, but they were still in a cage. They were driving through life, or navigating through life, being locked inside the state of needing to be the prettiest hen or the prettiest bird or belle at the ball, but they didn't have the capacity to, in a sense, feed themselves or nurture themselves, and that's why they needed that attention. And if you are in a space where you can't give that to yourself, or anyone else who might need it, who isn't like a part of a group of people that you feel like you need to constantly please, because there might be people in your life that you genuinely love and love you, or circumstances that are showing you what healthy love looks like, or even like a job or career you're pursuing that takes you away from the type of people who constantly need you or to validate them or please them. Like, prioritize what means the most to you and what gives you the most energy, because it is possible for others who need you to convince you that you need them as well, and sabotage your efforts to move forward. And this might actually be a career too, because I know this might actually have to do with money even. Like, if you have relationships currently you're moving away from, but people try to keep redirecting you back to them because there are a lot of tactics people use, and it comes from a place of abandonment wounds and fear, let me just say. So just understand that as well. There's no excuse for that, but people who have these wounds are going to fight to keep you in their lives and to keep themselves relevant to you, even if it means destroying everything around you. And I know that sounds really, really dumb, but it's kind of based on a place of fear and their own wounds. And that is part of why you might be kind of either feeling exhausted or tired. But I think don't feel guilty, don't feel ashamed. They might be doing some things to keep them chained to you. And I think that keeps coming through because that's why you need to really experience this part of your life. Potentially, you have the ability to walk away from a lot of very limiting situations, damaging people, and move forward in life slower and methodically, overcoming challenges, and just really having this. I'm hearing the phrase, you might appear as a temptress spirit, and I don't know what that means, like tempting someone. People might dismiss you when you try to move forward. Like, this is actually so this is your highest potential in a positive. I want to make that clear, but I am sensing a lot of grief and hesitancy. So as I'm trying to tap into this, it almost feels like you don't want to embody the energy I'm showing you, because that sassiness that I was saying is kind of deep inside of you. But a lot of the fear of moving on into this energy is just deep rooted in the environment you were born into, especially societal beliefs around identity and expressing emotions and emotional vulnerability. Like, some of those fears and limiting beliefs might be keeping you from this highest timeline. So let me get advice on how to get there and embody this frequency, because there's a lot coming through to you about really walking away using your best judgment, knowing what is for you will be yours, but just also tapping into childlike energy. Let me get some advice. So let me sit with this for a moment. You are protected. Tapping into these spirit guides or ancestors that are with you now, looking back at your childhood or with grandparents who might have loved you or knew you. Some of you didn't know your grandparents and only knew them from like maybe channeling energy, or your parents told you about them. But tap into those higher powers as you move away from this. Because one of the biggest things that is coming through is just being emotionally vulnerable and honest with yourself, letting go of your ego, letting these emotions come through and run through you, doing some shadow work and healing. This is a device on what to heal or how to manage what's going on in your life to achieve this. And it really does boil down to addressing issues surrounding ego wounds and shadows and trauma responses or fears that might come up when you start exhibiting behaviors that might contradict the ways your family has taught you or you've been grown up resisting. Because basically what I'm seeing is someone who's bottled their emotions their whole life and it's coming up, or someone who's been trained to hide their emotions, to be basically a people pleaser. Because I keep getting drawn to this image of a child in some sort of family sitting room filled with a whole bunch of other people, adults and children, and like a regular, like being babysat or something. But I keep getting this image, and you're just sitting there and you're trying to enjoy the time, but you can't rest. You can't do anything you want. You can't watch what you want on TV. You can't listen to the music you want to listen to. Everyone else takes priority over you. And that might not be a literal thing. It's just sort of like an image I'm getting, a vibe. There's this feeling of you cannot take priority in your life. Everyone else around you must come first before you. And that is definitely a wound of a people pleaser or someone who was born into a family that was either in conflict with itself, in conflict with each other, or just had a lot of ancestral karmic wounds and even generational wounds that need healing, especially if your family came from a country or place that was struggling and had to move to another one. Because I'm getting a lot of stuff like this has been going on for a while in your family. And like, this pain is not necessarily your own. If you aspire to be, I'm hearing some of you want to be a spiritual healer, some of you even want to be a tarot reader, but you're having a hard time right now or a difficult time now getting images to come through or doing readings, it's most likely that you are going through an upgrade or up leveling. Stuff from the past is coming up for you to release, and the people around you are part of kind of the part of you that needs to be let go of. You, I'm hearing part of the problem. You might have people in your life you're outgrowing energetically and spiritually you need to let go of. And once you gain mastery over being able to not fall into the same people pleasing habits as you were before, then you can reconnect with your gift. Because that's the thing, when we level up as spiritual healers, spiritual mediums, I go through this sometimes once or twice a year. Well, I will have a moment where I will be so in tune with the universe, and I'll kind of like go at a steady pace at a spiritual level I'm at. And then somewhere along the lines, my higher self is like, okay, well, we're going to shift things and we're going to kind of turn the dial up on your sensitivity, on new gifts breaking through. Like, I literally just had a gift breakthrough, and it's the clear tasting gift, where I normally am I'm highly sensitive, claircognizant, clairvoyant, and clairaudient. However, I'm not much of a person who tastes things very often. And I developed, basically over the last month or two, synesthesia out of nowhere. I associate numbers with colors. I associate people with words or phrases. My empathic ability was dialed up all of a sudden because I became an empowered empath over the course of 3 or 4 years. So, putting this into perspective, and I hope it gives you some clarity now, the reason why I was able to increase that level of gift was not only my authenticity with letting these emotions break through and just surrendering to the process. It's when stuff from your past comes up, or you need to let certain people go, and you know that, and you trust your intuition, you need to go through an entire grieving process because their energy is still in you. You gave to them, they gave to you, or were in your environment. So there was a energy transferal. So in a sense, you're doing this weird, deep soul retrieval and soul removal because a piece of their energy and their soul went into you. Whether you know it or not, they influenced you in a certain way, and you put out and extended a piece of your energy in them. You're just sort of cutting that cord and going through the grieving process of having lost that. So the grieving process takes as long as it takes, but by bottling up that energy, you're spiritually blocking yourself from moving on, transmuting this energy to be able to transcend into that not only empowered empath energy, but high priestess spiritual energy. So if any of you are readers out there and you just needed help on how to potentially manifest or master this part, or you just needed clarity on how to break through this, just give this time. Allow yourself to feel what you feel. And when in doubt, just talk it out. Just let that energy into the universe. Whether you go for a walk and you just talk to yourself, or talk to the trees, hug a tree, go out in nature, or you sit alone in your room and you talk to your ancestors or your grandmothers or spirit guides, just any way that you can kind of get this out of you. Some of you might need to journal. Some of you might need to sing or write. Get it out as long as it takes, because you need this. You deserve this. You've worked hard for this. So transferring this energy into the universe and having it come back to you in a very clean way seems to be the best path you should go on now, is what I'm hearing, to live in your highest potential. And some of you might I'm seeing the strawberry as a double meaning because it might be the strawberry full moon. You might come out of this depending on when you're watching this or when you receive this reading, or the strawberry could mean something significant to you. Maybe your grandmother liked strawberries, maybe your ancestors did, maybe you need to channel with an Aphrodite or a goddess of unconditionally loving energy. I heard some of you need to talk to a high priestess who is very unconditionally loving. But strawberries have to do with the heart and love and compassion and empathy. So I think that's one of the biggest things coming through to you to align with this path is just take it easy on you. It's okay to feel your feelings, and it's okay if you're afraid. That fear is coming from a real place of lack and a lack of empathy and compassion, or even learning how to regulate your emotions or feel them. Because if chances are, if you were taught to bottle up your emotions or not taught how to regulate them, everyone else in your environment was pretty much given the same direction. Like, don't talk about this. We don't do that. We don't talk about Bruno. Yeah. Okay. So there's that vibe of, well, you know what? You're going to say it. You're going to say it out loud. And there are some people you can't say it out loud to, and but at least get it out of you is the main point. So I just want to say, above all else, I am so very proud of you, and I'm happy to be here to be channeling these messages for you. And I give you all my love, wish you the best, and I pray for you that you do go through this soul revival, because we need more. We need more healthy emotional channelers. We need more high priestesses. We need more people to speak the light into this world. And I am here for you. I'm rooting for you. You're going to do great. All the best besties and all my love in the world. So thank you once again, dear viewers. I hope to see you again in another reading.